Oh my gosh, he said he wants to kill people. I said after they're tried, after they're convicted. I don't personally want to get near them and watch them twitch and jerk. I just want those animals euthanized. But I'm saying I'd belly up if I had to and get near their stinking pig-like carcasses if I had to, because they're a bunch of murdering trash. And so the president tries to stop this murdering trash from pouring into the country. And then we're supposed to sit here and take it like it's some form of hospitality. And Trump calls it a travel ban, and then people go, oh my gosh, he would get it through. He didn't call it a travel ban because he's not trying to get things done by lying. Even the controlled leftist corporate media admits he's telling the truth. He told the Russian ambassador the Russian investigation was nuts because they all know it's nuts. He hasn't gotten anything from Russia. It's totally normal during a transition to be talking to the ambassadors and presidents. He should have already met with Putin. But see, the optics, oh, Mr. President, don't do that. But I told you a month ago with Cernovich, we both have our sources, that Trump was going to go back to hardcore populist and was going to ignore his advisors and run over them. And what did you see? Everything we told you now. And now CNN and others report that he's turned super populist, Trump's populist wing on the rise. And, of course, Bannon's in there advising Trump, but only because it clicks with what Trump believes as a blue-collar billionaire, as a guy that came up running big crews, construction crews, you name it, liking America, tough guy, patriot, not out to get you. And Bannon is a blue-collar union tough guy, too. Used to be a liberal. These are real liberals that aren't out to screw the country. You want to see a real liberal? Donald John Trump. Stephen Bannon. Those are liberals. Those are Americans. I'm a liberal. I believe in freedom. I believe in low taxes. I believe in the right to self-defense. I believe people should be able to practice the religion they want or not. And they should be able to have the sexual preference they want. And they should be able to go to the schools they want. And they should be left alone and not bullied by political correctness. And they shouldn't have no white days at campuses. And whites shouldn't be taught they're inherently evil and bad. But this is the mind warp of the Democratic Party and the sick Hollywood culture that wants to enslave this country and dominate it so bad that it'll do anything, including weaponized culture, to destroy flyover country and to destroy the bitter clingers. And that's what we're coming down to here, and the human species is awake and not backing down, ladies and gentlemen of every race, color, and creed. We do all bleed red blood, and we do have one sovereign flag that is the history of our republic, and I call it 1776 worldwide. And Donald Trump is launching Operation 1776. That's what all this is. A lot of people in the government and the CIA and everywhere else go, stuff Jones was saying 15 years ago, word for word, is coming out of Trump's mouth. Stuff he was saying 5 years ago, word for word. Yes, you guessed it. Of course, the president, and of course, Bannon, and of course, all those people, and the military, and the generals listen to me. And you know why they listen? Because they already know everything I know and more. This is just one of the only radio shows that actually is in reality. They don't get their info from me. They're on the same page because we're bringing back America. We want the republic to be strong. We want prosperity. We want 1950 2.0. People go, oh, you want to go back? No, 1950 was when we was science and we could do anything. And we were going to end the discrimination in America. And we were going to come together because we just won World War II. And darn it, we weren't like those Nazis. And the Democrats were scared. The KKK wasn't popular anymore. They didn't know what to do, so they became the anti-racist. And you see them using their same tricks today, whether it's Nancy Pelosi or Maxine Waters. These are conscious, evil, race pimp, horrible people who hate everybody and are using divide and conquer when Donald Trump is unifying the people and having them come together. Now, unifying America, not unifying us with the UN and global government and TPP and IMF and World Bank and all these things we never got a vote in. And to watch the corporate media sit there dumbfounded when he had that speech recently pulling out of the Paris Accords, when he told it like it was to the whole world and said, I represent Pittsburgh, not Paris. And this is a screw job, and here's how the taxes affect us. And it's designed to shut us down economically and to pick winners and losers by a corporate elite. That was high noon to Count Dracula. That was like dragging his coffin out in the middle of a big field on the 4th of July and just opening that coffin up, and Count Dracula is burning up right now. George Soros, the New World Order, their whole big plan, their whole technocracy is dying. The American people and the Brexit, everybody else have already literally driven 2-foot short sword, double-edged daggers up through the sternum into the heart, and are just sloshing it around the liver, kidneys, and everything else. And we just pulled the knife out, and the globalists are stumbling off, bleeding to death, and they know it. The most important thing politically to understand, though, is while they die, while the giant squid dies, let's make sure it can't get its tentacles wrapped around us and drag us to the bottom. So don't ever give up. While the giant squid's rolling around bleeding to death, we're the equivalent of sperm whales. We got to turn in and go over and get another big bite in, and make sure they know, we know you're the enemy. We know you hate America. We know you're a bunch of alpha psychopaths that think you're better than us and that think you'll dominate us. And just like the communists and just like the fascists and just like the redcoats, America is coming back and is going to kick your butt politically, so get ready. The trance you've had over humanity is over, so get ready. Nationalism, free market is the winning team. Always has been, always will be. The Renaissance, 550 years old, ladies and gentlemen. And it's about to go into full bloom, and we're about to see the greatest innovations and the secrets of the universe unlocked. And the globalists don't want that. They want the universities busy turning the youth into basket cases that are mentally ill and all fighting with each other, so that you're so screwed up and such a chip on the shoulder neurotic that by the time you get 3 degrees and you're $150,000 in debt and you realize you'll never get out of debt because just the financing of it will be another $100,000, you're so politically scrambled in a cult you don't know what hit you. And that's what this is all about. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse, because of your big foreign banks that have hijacked the country. All you can do is create divide and conquer. It's called the Great Game. What British intelligence used to control India with only 10,000 men. They could control tens of millions of people by creating tribal animosity and divide and conquer. And they created sociology to go into India and other areas with the first vanguard, doctors normally, and missionaries. And then they would go in and track all the divisions, write it up, and then come back in within another 10, 15, 20 years and then start the civil wars. And so you got all these dirt bags like Gruber, who sits up there on C-SPAN with a bunch of other professors going, and they're all like fawning after me. He goes, I know how to scam Americans. They're so stupid. They have no attention spans. We're going to double and triple their prices. And I was chosen to come up with the lies. I am the great. And they're just like, oh, he's so proud. Just, I'm the big liar. I say it on TV. And all the big leftists are like, oh, God, you're helping bring down America. You are so incredible. He's like, I know I am. Oh, I'm so incredible. And he's just sitting there just on a total power trip. And that's what they go to college for. That's the upper crust, though. You go knowing you're a sociopath or a psychopath, knowing you're going to prey on everyone, and then you try to get into the upper graduate areas so you can actually fawn after the elites. And, will you teach me how to be a good liar? And then can I work for you and help oppress the people and suck off of them? And they all cackle and laugh. Read the WikiLeaks. They're like, top Democrats are saying, we're losing this war. We're trying to keep them in the dark and helpless best we can. These are quotes. We're trying to keep them in the dark and helpless, but it's not working. Now, they're not listening to us. They're still not moving against us, but if they start moving against us, we're going to lose. The answer is culture war. We've got to intensify it, and that's what all this is. So when you understand, and you see one of these fake liberals, these are sociopaths who are beta males who want to be in dominant positions but don't want to create economies, don't want responsibility, don't want prosperity. They want to see everybody else fail so they feel big. So you get consortiums of beta males together with also control freak cryptic women, and they build these alliances with psychology and all the rest of it. to create an unaware, they found another one. I forgot this one. The unaware and compliant and ignorant. Yes, that's another one of them. Oh, you're so smart. Oh, my gosh. You put the wrong, you told women don't breastfeed and then put out for generations formula combinations you knew would reduce IQ 30 points. Oh, you're so advanced. You created billions of quasi-retarded people to rule over everyone so you could be so powerful. And then get a bunch of mercenary TV crews to run around and point at somebody who's actually virile and alive and primitive and is aware of what they're doing and is exposing it. So they can make all their jokes all day and have their Tuck Buckford characters and the rest of it. But you know what? I am primitively reaching out to people in an emergency warning saying, you are under attack. We are under attack. These are con artists that are running your life. And if you go along with them, you have conned yourself. And when you give in to them, you have conned yourself. Come out of the trance. You don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to follow what I follow. You just have to know you've been lied to and take the blinders off. And that's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. I got a bunch of clips I want to get to. A ton of stuff I want to break down. Hillary, though, just said, don't worry about a jihad attack. If a guy comes into your pub screaming Allah Akbar with, a 2-foot knife, 3 guys come in and start stabbing women in front of you. Imagine, I've got the full reports here. The Islamists just always target the weakest, and they got a thing about hating women. And so I guess they figure they can kill more because they won't resist as much. And they just start stabbing them right in the eyes and right in the throat. And the men reported they would just stand there while they would stab each woman 10 times. Just, I'm loving, I'm liberal. This is for Allah. This is for Allah. You will, and the men are all sitting there. And one guy out of over 100 in this pub, the blue and white pub, who's a hooligan, a bad man, he still goes to soccer games, some vestigial male thing, and still gets in fights sometimes. Oh my God, it's men like this that got us here standing up against garbage like this. He stands up, takes him on, the Lion of London Bridge, and they're talking about maybe charging him now. It's like the guy that had the gypsies robbing him, and he shot him. They robbed him the 3rd time. He spent 10 years in prison? I'm going from memory. And so this guy stands up and says, F you, shouts the name of his soccer team. It wasn't England, it wasn't Western culture, it wasn't Renaissance, but at least he had something he had allegiance to. At least he was willing to stand up. This was his pub, his people. He just watched them stab a bunch of people, and they're talking about what a lion he is. I mean, let me tell you, I want to survive. 3 guys pop in here with knives, man. I'm going to overturn this. I'm going to grab this bottle. Of course, I'm here in the United States, and my forebears made sure I had the Second Amendment. I fought for it, and I've got my concealed carry. So, guess what? If jihadis bust in here, they're going to have to face my 9mm. But see, imagine, this guy that fought him, 100 people stood there and just watched as they stabbed women. He's the weirdo. He's the bad guy. I'm the weirdo because I've got a firearm. The government can have big armored bases and command bases and nuclear weapons and take my tax money to have it. But if I've got a firearm, it's scary, isn't it? And it was so scary when I was growing up, if some gang member 4 years older than me, when I'm like 12, starts beating me up. And so I pick a brick up and smash it over their head, and the police get there and they go, well, the people said they saw he attacked you, but this guy's in a coma. We're going to have to take you to juvenile. See, it was still bad. It was still bad. You've got a 12-year-old beating his head in the ground, and you're like 16, 17 years old trying to kill me, and I fought back. I'm the bad man. I'm the evil man. I never attacked anybody, didn't attack me first. But see, I'm the ultimate evil, you see, because the sociopaths and the psychopaths, they don't like anybody standing up. That's why they've got their filthy, degenerate, stinking nanny state. I'm going to skip this break. I would have gotten this wound up today even if Megyn Kelly hadn't been here. I haven't gotten wound up in a while as much because I try to realize what the social engineers are doing and just deal with it intellectually and take care of it. But I understand I need to be real with people at a primitive level. People ask, am I fake? Am I an actor? I've been in movies. I can be an actor, but I always played parts that were what I already believed. Understand? It's like saying, are you an actor when you go up to a pretty woman and are trying to be charming? No, you're being yourself. But it's the same thing. I'm angry about the Islamic attacks. I'm angry about the apologists for it. I'm genuinely pissed off. And then I let myself be that way on air. But I'm in control of myself most of the time. But all I'm saying is I'm letting people at least see verbally what people were like in the past if there was a threat going on. I mean, if you went back 1,000 years ago and you're in some valley, let's say in Europe or wherever it is in the world, or Asia, it didn't matter, and somebody had come through the valley that day, marauders, and grabbed your wife and daughters and some of your kids and run off with them, you'd go give a speech like that to the men in the village saying, I know that tribe over the hill might be bigger than us, but if we don't stand up, they're never going to stop coming and kidnapping our family. Let's get our weapons and let's go get our family back. And guaranteed the speeches were just like the one you just heard. And that's what a leader is. And I have politically done everything I can in the information war in the last 20 years to wake up as many people to the anti-American, anti-woman, anti-family, anti-human, anti-God, anti-everything global authoritarian system that is using Islam and socialism and communism and all these failed systems on purpose to screw up society and consolidate control. And we've even got all the WikiLeaks where they admit they're in a race to make you poor, to control you, that they use poverty as a weapon. Of course, globalists can't compete with free market, and they want monopoly, so that's why they're attacking it. And we've got terror attacks now in Paris. We've got people taken hostage in Australia just today in Ramadan, and they just say, nothing to do with Islam, nothing to do with Islam, nothing to do with Islam. Like they're going to tame us in the West to go along with it, and like the social engineers are going to tame the Islamists and make them be nice. That's the useful idiots at the university level or at the local newscaster level. Let me assure you, at the Pentagon level and at the CIA level and at the Zbigniew Brzezinski level, who just died a week ago or 2 weeks ago, at the Zbigniew Brzezinski level, they wrote books explaining they're using Islam as the global destabilization force to bring in a world government. And when they're done with it, they're going to wipe out large portions of the Muslim population. Let's go ahead and play a clip that deals with this, with a former Islamist warning the world.
Former Islamic extremist Maajid Nawaz. Maajid, thank you for being here tonight. It's good to have you with us this evening. You know, you listened to that list, and we played the soundbite from our last conversation back in March when you warned that there would be much more to come. I suppose you're sorry you were right.
Indeed, and I think we have to come to terms, Martha, with the fact that Europe, Britain and the rest of Europe are in the midst of a full-blown jihadist insurgency. You were citing figures earlier that our security services are attempting to monitor around 23,000 suspected jihadists. That, by the way, is out of a population in the UK of just 5% that are Muslim, which means that 23,000 from 4 million Muslims in this country, and then around those 23,000, that's those who are jihadists, around them will be those who sympathize with the ideology, Islamists, who believe in establishing a caliphate, and around them, those who empathize with their friends who happen to be Islamists. If that's not insurgency levels, I don't know what is.
Yes, this is a military insurgency in Europe, in the UK, and the answer is bring more in. What do you think was going to happen when the UN, NATO, the globalists, 7, 8 years ago with Google, with Obama, this has all been in the news, met up in Watford at that 5-star hotel, we went and covered it, and organized publicly the Arab Spring and then launched it with Anderson Cooper going, look how liberal it is. They were blowing up and burning every church they could get a hold of in Egypt and overthrowing our allies. And I sat there and watched CIA Anderson Cooper, robber baron heir, who's gay, promoting the Arab Spring in Egypt while they were throwing gays off buildings every hour, conservatively. In some cases, blocks from where he is. I mean, imagine the sellout, weird, twisted nature of that, of a robber baron, toady. Now, I'm going to go to break here, and we've got a bunch of guys coming up, and a ton of clips I haven't even gotten to yet. And I'm going to get settled down now and more focused here. But I do just want to ask the listeners to spread the word about Infowars.com. I want you to spread the videos, the articles, because they're doing everything they can to stop it. They want to censor us. They admit they are. You are destroying the controlled fake press. You are destroying the corporate media. You are annihilating them. And they've been somewhat energized in their death battle with Trump and America and nationalism, but that's a dead cat bounce. That's their death battle. We just get stronger as their ideology is exposed. We have come light years exposing the unelected nature of world government. And that's why it's more important than ever that everyone support InfoWars by going to InfoWarsStore.com and circumventing the establishment so that they can't get our sponsors and buying the highest quality, private labeled, many of our items are private labeled, top best-selling brands. They're at Whole Foods, you name it. We just go get the very best organic, top certified companies around 30, 40 years, and then we have it private labeled, and we have 25% off on average. That's what we do. We also sell the Emmerich's Essentials line. It's one of the top companies in the United States. They let us private label it. That's why you'll recognize the packaging, and it's 20% off retail with 25% off at AutoShip. And that is the third largest brand in Whole Foods. We now private label. Just an example, they'll probably call it snake poo or snake screen, because anything we sell, it could be a bottle opener or a book or a T-shirt. It's just evil because you aren't allowed to have your own funding. And if other people ever figure out in media having their own funding with their audiences, it's over for the globalists who know that they're propping up MSM and that know that Archer, Daniels, Midland, and Lockheed have ads on mainstream news. No one's buying fighter bombers for $1.5 billion, who's watching that. It's just part of their tithe to mainstream news. Well, tithe here and get high-quality products. Selenium is electrochemical in the body, just like vitamin C or iodine. If you don't have it, you'll die. And this is the purest form from mustard seed. Bioselenium sold out for months because we get the absolutely clean, California-level clean standard, so it's hard to get it at that level. 700-plus reviews, 4.8 stars on Power Reviews. Nobody's got that. It's back in stock, 25% off, and other specials at InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. But most importantly, pray for us. Tell folks, tune in. Hour number 2.